Members, I would like to put that to you. If we secure a date within our constituency period, would that be okay for you?
No
Member
problem
Kama?
from my side.
Supported, Chair.
Thank you, Member Kama. Member Botha, I see your hand.
Chair, I just wish to indicate to this committee that I would be out of the province as of the 17th of September. Up until the I think it's the 27th. No, it is up until the, up until the 27th, Chair, sorry.
Thank you so much, Member. We will definitely engage the alternate for you. Thank you. Members, so if we can confirm the time, the date, even if it's, let me just see here. Mr. Matthews, is there any date that you see that is actually workable in terms of the deadline? Member Van Vogel, your hand is up. Member Van Vogel?
I'm supporting that date, Chair. For that period.
Thank you so much. Members, in terms of moving forward and further input from all the members and the relevant comments that has been made, we will then conduct a virtual public hearing. We will also then have the ad in one paper per region, as well as we can see to look at Vukani, for example. We will then also see to engage the municipalities, also DCAS to send out to all of the organizations with working within the sector, as well as the social media, and to relevant members of the provincial parliament that can also distribute to their relevant constituencies in order for us then to have a public hearing. I know it's a bit tricky with the dates, but seeing that members agree that it could be within that constituency period, can we then agree that I can, before the end of tomorrow, confirm that dates with you, as well as a way forward? Because I would then also write to the select committee chairperson to inform her that we will be submitting our negotiating mandate by the first week of October. Is that all in order with you, members? Before you answer, I see Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to know, in the advertisement, is there a deadline for written submissions?
We will have a 2-week period, yes.
Okay, but will it coincide with the date of the virtual hearing, or would it be before that? Because members would obviously want a compilation of the written submissions. I've already received 2 for the customary initiation bill without any advertising or request for input.
Thank you so much, members. Would you be okay and would you be amenable to that? We have it for a 2-week period, but then we close it within that 2-week period. That will just be easier in terms of an administration point of view.
Totally agree, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Barnes.
Agreed.
And we will then, in my discussions with Mr. Daza and Mr. Matthews, we will then see to that this consensus that we reach here will be for both the bills before the committee. Is everyone in agreement with that as well?
Agreed.
Agree, Chair.
Thank you so much, members. So that should conclude. We are almost concluding. Let me just So the resolutions are clear, that there's recommendations that came today. Or let me see, Member Bosman.
Chair, I just want to follow up on what Mr. Daza said. Do we as a committee have to decide on those dates now, or is it okay for us to empower you and the procedural officer to identify those dates and get back to us by tomorrow? And you also get the ball rolling. I just want to check in terms of procedure that we're not walking away here without identifying those dates.
Okay, thank you. That is also what was on my mind. Inside what Member Botha?
Now, just wanted to concur with Member Bosman, but wanted to really support that you and the procedural officer go ahead with the logistics.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daza and Mr. Matthews. Is there any issue in that regard? Would we be able to then discuss that in detail between the three of us, Mr. Matthews, myself, and Mr. Daza?
Yes, Chair. Okay. It's a little bit difficult for me, but I would, from my side, advise the committee to take a collective decision in terms of the date. It's very important that we have a date that has been decided by the by the whole committee. I know that sometimes members would leave that to the chair and staff, but I would really like it to be a committee decision. And I don't know that, because you see, sometimes maybe the date members might not like the date, and then our minutes should. I would like our minutes to indicate that the committee decided to have public hearings at this place at such a date. You know, it would be very important to us if it's done like that. But if members want to leave it to the chairperson, that's fine. But I would appreciate it if it can be a committee decision. Thank you.
Member, thank you so much. I just want to double check, Mr. Daza. If the ad goes out in this week, and we say it's open for 2-week period, would we be able to then have the virtual meeting and the virtual public hearing even within those 2 weeks?
Yes,
Mr. Daza?
Yes, Chair. The advert must indicate when are the public hearings going to be held. So the issue of giving members of the public time, I think the members want to give them a window of about 2 weeks before the public hearings are held. But you can also, in the advert, say that give it more time for the public to comment in writing. So as long as it is before the date the committee would like to submit the mandate to the NCOP. So it's really up to the committee. So, but I would advise that the date of a hearing must be in the advert, and then it must be after 2 weeks as the committee has agreed. But you can also give more time for the written submissions. If you.
Then the date, that I see could potentially work.
Chair, sorry.
Yes, Member Botha.
Member Murray's hand was up. You did not recognize.
So sorry, Member Maria, I didn't see your hand.
Thank you so much, Madam, that you noticed my hand. Chairman, I just want, please, to ask for a response to what I'm going to say. We are dealing here with customary law, customary marriages. It doesn't affect a lot of communities. If we are going to have public input, it must be with the people who will be mostly affected by this bill. Not with people who will not be affected by this bill. They wouldn't even understand the implications of it because it's not their traditions, it's not their customs. We must face the facts, face the reality. If you are going to discuss customs of the Griqua, of which I'm a member, I don't want anybody else to come and decide. Griquas will decide. Now, what is good for us? What are we intend doing? When we go to the rural areas, we must be careful that we respect the Black communities, and ask their opinions on this. This is not a law of general application. I hope I'm understood here. If this was a law of general application, it affects everybody. We will consult and hear the opinions of everybody. This is a law of particular implications or applications. So we've got to listen to those communities, what they think of it. If it is not going to be that, I think it would be senseless, but that's only my opinion.
Thank you so much, Member Marais. In the same vein that I think earlier that Member Bosman clarified that we shouldn't preempt what input and comments will be. And also in the same manner is that if this bill, I highly doubt that a person from Mitchell's Plain would want to give extensive input into the bill, for example. But I wouldn't want to preempt or disbar anyone from giving input. I trust that is okay for you. But members, just to move forward, the date will then highly be within the constituency period. If it's within the 2 weeks, if I look at 20, if we look at members, would we be, just give me one moment. Members, I'm looking at the 26th, on the 28th of September. Would that be okay for you? And then the comments deadline for the 30th of September.
That's fine with me, Chairperson.
We have a meeting slot on the 6th of October. We then consider all the input and do the mandate on the 6th of October.
Chair, just repeat your dates again now. The 28th you want?
If we consider our time frames and how tight it is, we have Heritage Day coming up and we have constituency period, then if we then take the 28th of September for the hearing, we have one virtual hearing on the 28th of September. Okay. But we have the deadline for comments towards the end, the 30th. Would that work?
Chair, I just want to indicate to you that on the 28th of September, 28th September is scheduled for the visit week of the Standing Committee of Education. Although it is not in the program year, but that is a day that we would depart Cape Town for the visit week.
Oh, so we're not leaving the 29th?
No, we're leaving on the 28th. If you check the correspondence, I will just indicate to the procedural officer just to put it in as the 28th as well. It is a day of the that oversight visit week to leave Cape Town.
Thank you, Member Botha, because the 25th of September would be deemed a long weekend for many people, with Heritage Day falling on the Thursday before. Mr. Daza, is there any date?
Chair, yeah. If you want to leave it on the 28th, then we need to then do it during the course of the morning, and I don't think that is an absolutely good time.
No, I would want to do it preferably at 6 o'clock, if that's okay for you. I think not 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, the afternoon, if there's access centers that is going to get involved, etc. But I'm open to your ideas in that regard.
3 o'clock we would be in transit, Chair. And many of us that are on this platform now is going to form part of that group during the visit week.
Mr. Matthews, any other date that you, if we look at the 23rd, would that be too soon? Members, the 23rd of September. Member Bosman, I see your hand.
Chairperson, I'm happy with the 23rd of September. I do think that it would probably be easier to do it from 9 till 1 or from 9 till 12, because if we are using facilities that are run by other provincial government departments, we shouldn't make the assumption that they're going to be working at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And because it's a virtual meeting, it will be a lot more accessible than an in-person meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. I hear you, members. Is that okay for, am I sharing my screen? Oh. Members?
I got two screens now.
Members, I trust that you find that in order. So the 23rd of September will
That's in
be,
order, Chair.
Thank you so much. We took 52 minutes, and I trust that there will then be consensus that we all are okay with the advertisements being printed across newspapers within our regions, as well as social media will be used, as well as DCAS to send out to all of their stakeholders, as well as members of this provincial parliament. I see Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Chair. So with the deadline, the written deadline, can that still be like the 28th or the 30th of September?
Yes, that can still be extended even to the 28th of September.
At least it allows more time. So if it's questioned about how much time we gave people for input, we can say, well, it's just a virtual hearing that was a bit earlier, but the written comments were given a more extended period. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, I'm happy with that. Also, that we have a dedicated WhatsApp platform where comments can also be verbally sent via a voice note. Member, Mr. Daza, I see you.
Yes, sir. Thank. Just a clarity from my side. I know, because I know you said you want to have clear decisions from something that is not clear to me now, that I would like to just check with the committee. In terms of newspapers, there are two newspapers that reach the whole province, namely the Weekend Argus and the Weekend Burger. They go to the whole province. Then, but I see the committee decision is saying that there must be a newspaper in each district, which means to me that the committee say you must have a newspaper, a committee newspaper for that particular, for West Coast, a newspaper, blah, blah, blah. With social development, what we did, we advertise across the province, but we used these big newspapers that go on a weekend. That is the big news, that is the Weekend Burger and the Saturday Argus. They, from what we hear from the service provider, they reach the entire province. But then then I just want to get clarity. Do you want a smaller newspaper in the regions, or must we use these two newspapers that reaches the entire province? That's something that is not clear to me for now, Chair.
Thank you. I see Mr. Matthews.
Yes, Chair, just in terms of the duration of the actual hearing, you said you wanted from 3 p.m. until what time?
No, I've taken the input from Member Bosman regarding a 9 till 1.
9 till 1, okay.
If members are okay with that, that makes more sense in my head now. And then members, regarding the newspaper, if we follow what other committees have done, are you all in support that we do it then within the Cape, within the Weekend August, which then reach the entire province?
Chair, just on a correction, what we did on other committees was we used the Argus part. For the areas outside the metro, for example, I remember in Southern Cape, we were using the Herald, or what's this newspaper? but there's a dominant one local newspaper for the Southern Cape. Same as for the Karoo, we identify the dominant papers within the outside region. I know the Karoo is using the Courier. Overberg have its own newspaper. If we perhaps can do it like that, I would appreciate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Bosman, and then Member Marais.
Thank you, Chair. I want us to stick to a Western Cape Constitution. What do they say? Which languages are the official languages of the Western Cape? And stick to that when we choose newspapers. There are 3 languages here, Afrikaans, Xhosa, and English. We're not going to favor the Cape Argus as against the other 2, because we've got to also communicate with people who's not conversant with English as good as in their own lingua franca. I think we got to now decide whether we want to stick to our constitution or not. We can't use the constitution as a crutch when it suits us and ignore it at other times. So I would say the Burger must also be one of the papers in which this is advertised, sir.
Thank you so much, Member Bosman.
Marais.
Chairperson, I would
Honourable
suggest that the
Marais.
procedural officer engages with the coordinator for social development, because we addressed this issue already, Chair, and there's a standard practice amongst the procedural officers that everything that we do is advertised in all 3 languages. The George Herald is a language that is published in both English and Afrikaans. We also, if my memory serves me correct, Chair, we agreed that we'll publish in the George Herald, the Weekend Argus, as well as the Burger, and the adverts appeared in those newspapers. So perhaps just in terms of sailing through the supply chain forest, if Wasim could engage with Nomonde to see whether she could give him that request for quotations as well, because that will be useful. Because then we're covering both the regional aspect of advertising in terms of the reach, but we're also covering the language issue. One of the newspapers I know that we used as well was the Vukani newspaper, Chair.
No, thank you so much. Between Wasim and myself, we will then ensure that that is being dealt with. But in terms of the dates that has been captured, I trust that you all agree. Before we conclude, members, I will try again to make contact with the select chair committee dealing with the customary initiation bill. And then I will drop an email to inform you in that regard. But if we take the resolutions, Mr. Daza, if we take the resolutions here and we do that concurrently, would you all be okay with that if he comes back to me and says something similar to the select chair committee dealing with the marriages bill? I see Member Botha and Member Marais.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to concur with that date and what is going to happen around the logistics. I just want to indicate here, Chair, that I'm apologizing for my absence on that date, as I will be out of the province. Thank you.
Members, Mr. Matthews, is everything clear your side?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you to the committee members as well.
Members, then on that note, I trust that all is in order. And again, thank you for availing your valuable time and for being present here and for your input. It is highly appreciated. Thank you so much. Member Marais, your hand is up.
I just want to wish all the members in this committee God's hand of protection over them in this stage of the COVID-19. I'm always happy to see all of them are still well, and I wish that they will stay well. And you, Chairman.
Thank you, and I trust that the members will be okay if I do this. But on behalf of the committee, a happy belated birthday. I know I spoke to you already, but from the committee, a happy belated birthday to you, Member Marais, Your experience and input is indeed appreciated. We wish
Thank you,
you
Chair.
long lifestyle, sir.
Thank you very much.
Many
We'll
more
see-
years to come.
We will sing in person again.
Thank you very much, members.
But members,
Especially
everyone for your
member
input,
Barnes.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
This meeting is
Especially
now
to member
adjourned.
Barnes. Especially to member